Hi everyone and welcome to another speed build. Today I'm sharing a rustic barn wedding venue because, as I'm sure quite a few of you already know, I did get married recently. So I thought this was the perfect kind of build to come back with because it has been a while since my last video. It's been about 3 weeks. And that was just because I was attempting to juggle working full time with planning the wedding and doing YouTube on the side, and that just was not going very well. So I had to take a step back from YouTube to really focus on the wedding planning, and then after the wedding I wanted to take a break as well just to kind of enjoy newlywed life for a little bit. But I'm back now, I'm feeling a lot better, I'm feeling a bit more relaxed, and I'm really excited to be back to making videos. And I just really thought this would be great to come back with because a few of you did request that I make a wedding venue, and also it's a bit more topical because it's a little easier to talk about my wedding when I'm making a wedding venue than when I'm just making some other kind of build. And this also has just been on my list of things that I wanted to do, and this is obviously just the perfect point in my life to do this kind of thing. And while this was inspired by my wedding venue, this definitely isn't a recreation of it because while where I got married had a barn on site, and that's actually where the reception was held, there was a lot more to it because it was a winery, and I thought about trying to recreate it, but there just would have been a lot of unnecessary buildings that would have just made throwing a wedding here harder to do in The Sims. So I decided to simplify things a little bit and just focus on the barn part of it. But even this isn't an exact recreation of the barn because I knew that trying to recreate things exactly would just be frustrating because that's always kind of tricky to do in The Sims. So I decided to just have fun with it and really make this more of a loose, like kind of a loose interpretation of my wedding venue, and I just really had a blast making this. I know I say this a lot, but this is just different than other builds that I made, and it was really nice to do something a little different, get out of my comfort zone a little bit, and I am really happy with how this venue turned out. And with this, I was trying to make it look like it was kind of built on a hill because I've seen this a lot with these kinds of barns where there'll be a lower level and an upper level, and the lower level will be half out of the ground, like one side will be out of the ground and the other side will be in the hill. And I could be wrong, but I think why that is that the horses are typically kept on the lower level, and then the upper level is where all the hay is stored. So you need to be able to easily get the hay into the upper level and then also easily be able to get the horses into the lower level, because my now brother and sister-in-law actually got married in an old barn at her parents' house, and they were telling me how they had trapdoors throughout it that you would open to throw hay down to the horses, and they had to do all this work to clean out the barn and get it clean out the barn and get it so suitable for a wedding. So it was definitely that was definitely a bit rougher than the barn I had my wedding in. Like, it was still really nice, but the one I had my reception in was, I'm assuming, like that at one point, but they did a bit more work to renovate it, so it wasn't quite as rough as some of the rustic barn wedding venues that you see. So it definitely was kind of this mix of bohemian and rustic, but with some elegance mixed in, which was pretty nice, and that was what I was trying to show within this venue, although I think this definitely is a bit more rustic than our actual wedding venue was. But I was also drawing inspiration from the barn I was mentioning my brother and sister-in-law got married in because I really like that. So I was trying to draw from some aspects of that, and also some of the other rustic barn type wedding venues I've been to, because that is a pretty in thing right now. So I've been to a few other weddings in that kind of a venue, but I really do like the vibe of it. I know it's done a lot right now, but it's just something that, like, there's something I really like about it. So I was happy to kind of have that feel to our wedding. And I also set it up so the ceremony area was outdoors because that is what we did for our wedding. So we actually had the ceremony set up overlooking the vineyards. So it was really pretty because just as far as you could see, there were rolling hills. You could see all the grape plants growing, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. And we also had it timed so our ceremony was during sunset. So you just kind of had the sun setting in the background, and I cannot wait to see all the pictures because I'm sure it's just going to look absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really glad that everything worked out perfectly with the weather because I really was hoping to be able to have an outdoor ceremony. I mean, if we had to do it indoors, that would have been fine, but the outdoor ceremony is really what I was hoping for. So I was just so happy when I saw the weather forecast and saw that we were going to have perfect weather for that day, and everything with the day in general just worked out so well. I had fun with it. I was definitely a nervous wreck earlier in the day because I got maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep the night before because I was just nervous. I was sitting there like up all night just thinking about all the things that could go wrong and all the things I had to do. And I was kind of nervous about being the center of attention and, kind of walking down the aisle and doing the first dance and all of that. But once I got past that, I just had fun, and I definitely loosened up a little bit and had an absolute blast. And, while the whole wedding was filled with great memories, I think a lot of my favorite memories from the night came from the reception part of it, where I was just spending time with all these people that I love and just having fun and not having to worry about doing this thing and doing that thing. So I really enjoyed that part of the wedding, and I'm just really glad that everything went so well, and that that's something else that's kind of off my plate that I don't have to worry about anymore, because as I'm sure any of you who have gotten married would agree with, it definitely is stressful planning a wedding, and you're putting all this time and money and effort into it, and it kind of feels like there's a lot riding on it. So it's definitely a huge relief to kind of be past that and to have had it gone well and to have all these memories and to kind of be starting a new chapter of your life. So I'm really glad it all worked out despite me being a tired, nervous wreck in the beginning of the day, because honestly, in the beginning of the day, I was like, I don't know if I could do this, because we had kind of a late wedding, so it ended at 11:30, and I was like, I don't know if I can get to that point on 3 hours of sleep. But once I got close to ceremony, adrenaline kicked in. I also had half a can of an energy drink, which for me is a lot of caffeine, so I was good to go, and I honestly did not really feel tired until it was all over, and then it just kind of hit me right at that moment. And I'm sure I'll talk more about kind of other details about the wedding throughout this video, because I did, of course, take inspiration from how we had things arranged in our venue for the reception, kind of like where we had things, what we had going on. So I'm really excited to share all of that with you. But right now I'm just working on the landscaping, and I just really wanted to have a lot of flowers all around and have it have kind of like this dreamy garden feel, and I really like how it came out. I also used some of the By Debug plants because I really like that big lavender plant that's there, and I also like that one pink bush that I used. And I found this one tree, this tree here was actually one of the ones that was unlocked with that one patch. I think it's one of the ones that's in the environment in Winterberg, because I sorted by Winterberg or sorted by Get Together to find that. So I was really glad I could use that to kind of tie the trees on this lot in with the trees that are throughout the world a little bit better. And over here by the arch, I just stuck in a whole bunch of plants because I really wanted to, of course, make this area look very scenic, because, it's kind of the focal point of the whole wedding. So I wanted to just have a lot in the background to look all nice and pretty for pictures. When you take pictures of your Sims getting married. I was going to put this wedding battery firework thing behind it, but it didn't really look good back there. It was kind of ruining the vibe of the arch area a little bit. And then I tried sticking it behind the chairs, but I didn't really like how it looked there, so I just kind of ditched the whole firework thing, which I thought was probably a good idea anyway, because it's kind of close quarters. You might not want to, I know none of this matters in The Sims, but with the fireworks in this game can actually catch things on fire, so maybe it is good to kind of think about this. But, you're not going to have, fireworks going off, 5 feet away from people who are there, just popping out of the ground at 5 feet away, so, I figured we don't need it anyway. This venue was fine without it. It's kind of more of an understated thing anyway, so I didn't think we really needed that. But here I was just trying to change the angle of these chairs a little bit, just so it looks more like it's angled in towards the arch. I thought that would look a little bit better, kind of give it a little bit more of a flair. And we're just adding in some more trees to really make it feel kind of more, overgrown, or not overgrown, but, kind of more mature. This is a barn that is of course very old, so you've got a lot of mature trees around it. I didn't want to crowd it in too much, but that was the feel I was trying to give this place. And then we also have some benches here. I thought that would look really nice along the path. But while I'm finishing up the landscaping, I did want to talk about something else that's been going on in my life. So this unfortunately isn't as happy as the whole wedding thing, but I did find out about a week before my wedding that I am getting laid off from my job. So that is why I did take a 3-week-long break, because I was originally thinking it would be maybe a 2-week-long break, but the whole finding out that I'm getting laid off from my job right before my wedding thing kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. So once I found that out, I just was really not in the mood to make videos, so that just added on to the whole being busy with wedding planning thing. And then since kind of coming back from all of that, I've been spending time trying to apply for jobs and, get that whole thing set up. But I gotta say, while this sucks as far as getting laid off from your job situations go, mine is actually pretty good, because it wasn't a situation where my boss told me, you're getting laid off, pack your desk, like you're done, this is your last day, or you've got a week or a few days or whatever. They actually gave me 4 more weeks, which is pretty good. Like I don't feel like that's typically done. And my boss is also actually helping me with finding a new job, which I'm really thankful for. Like, I had a meeting with him earlier in this week where he asked me how things were coming along with that, and was giving me some advice on what to do as far as resumes and cover letters and companies I should apply for, and like telling me like, people he knew who worked at different companies, like kind of helping with networking. And I was very surprised by this, but he also told me that I could spend time while at work applying for jobs, which definitely makes it easier because I was really stressing out about being able to apply for jobs while still working at this one. So that just took a whole weight off the situation. So I spent like a couple hours a day just applying for jobs while at work. So that's a pretty good situation. So while it does suck and I'm definitely sad about it, I'm definitely sad to be leaving this job, there is some good to it too, because if I'm being honest, this job wasn't like 100% the best fit for me. And I feel like I kind of got to a point where I couldn't really grow much more within it. Like, I've learned a lot from this job, but I don't think there are opportunities here to grow and gain knowledge in the way that I really want to. So I think this is definitely the push I needed to further my career, because I have gotten kind of comfortable, because when you have a job, it's easy to be like, well, I'll just kind of stay here, because hunting for a job is honestly like a huge pain in the ass, so I didn't want to deal with it. So it's kind of like putting it off. But, this definitely is kind of like the push I needed to further my career. So I'm trying to see the good in this, and I'm trying to stay positive, but I just want to let you all know that, because that's definitely is a big thing going on in my life, and I'm not going to have a job. Like, my last day of work is next Wednesday, and I'm definitely not going to have anything lined up for right after that. So if you do see me uploading more videos over the next month or so until I get a new job, which hopefully won't take too long, that is why. Because, like, I guess kind of the bright side of it too is that I'm going to have a little bit more time to make videos for a short period of time, which I think will be nice. But I definitely don't want it to be, I don't want that to be the case for too long. But yeah, you all might see some more videos over the next month or so, so be prepared for that. I don't think I'm going to be able to upload daily, but definitely more than I have been uploading. But anyway, enough of that. I want to get back to the build here. So you might have seen me placing a bunch of those cups on that table out there. And that was because I was trying to make that look like the favor table, because something we did at our wedding was we had wine glasses as favors, because it's a winery, so we thought that'd be perfect. But, so what we actually did was we just stuck them at the tables, like at the place settings, but I couldn't really do that very easily without worrying about it affecting Sims being able to eat at the table. So I just stuck it on a table out there, because you might have seen that and been thinking, like, why are there so many cups just sitting on the table? And then I also added that one sign thing with a picture on it, because I was kind of thinking like that seemed like something where maybe it's a sign saying like, don't forget to pick up your favor and take lots of pictures and all of that, or we have a photo booth in the basement, because I also stuck that photo backdrop thing in the basement, and then I made a table that looked like a prop table, because we also had a photo booth at our wedding. So I thought that'd be something kind of fun to throw in here. But right now I'm working on the kind of the eating area, which is very small. I didn't have a lot of space for this, but I think that's fine, because when you throw weddings in this game, you're only able to invite, I think, like 15 Sims. So we have, I think 18 seats, because they have 2 seats at the sweetheart table. So, I mean, you're able to seat the amount of people you would be able to invite anyway here. So I think it's fine. I don't think we needed many more tables from that. And then on the other side here, across the dance floor, you've got the bar area, you've got the food area. So I set up a couple of those buffet tables. I also put a gift table there. So this definitely isn't exactly like the layout of the wedding venue for our reception, but we kind of had the same thing where you had the dance floor in the center of it, and then we actually had tables on either side of it. And then kind of like the buffet area and gift table and all that was on the perimeter of the building. So it's not exactly, but it's kind of similar. And I also put some chandeliers in the upper levels. I thought that would be really pretty, and I liked how that mixed with the rustic look of this venue. Oh, and we also had those string lights over the dance floor, which I thought looked really nice. And we didn't end up doing that for our wedding, but it is something that a lot of other people have done for their weddings at the venue we had ours at, where they have, just like kind of the string lights over the dance floor. We didn't end up doing that though, because it cost extra money, and it cost an amount that I thought was unreasonable for just stringing lights above the dance floor, so we just didn't even bother with it. And I honestly, like, while it's pretty, I honestly didn't think the venue needed it at all, and I was not about to drop the amount of money they wanted to just string some lights. So we just didn't even bother with that, and I was fine with that, because the thing is, like, we were gonna have those lights on for like maybe an hour or two, because once the dancing started, we like pretty much all the lights in the venue got turned down, other than like the lights from the DJ setup. So it just wasn't necessary anyway, so we didn't bother with that. But right here, I'm just setting up the gift table. So I just stuck a lot of these gifts that came with a holiday patch on the table. I thought that looked pretty nice. And then over here, I just stuck this table by itself that you can use to place the cake on to do the whole cake cutting from. You definitely gotta have that at a wedding venue. And this venue does have everything you need to throw a wedding. There is actually a kitchen in the lower level below. That is something I really wanted to include, so that is why I made that lower level. That's also where the bathrooms were, because that's kind of hard to fit into this level. Like, I really wanted this part of the build to just be an open area that's dedicated to the reception part of it. So all that other stuff is kind of tucked away down in the basement or the lower level, and there is, well, you'll see it shortly, but there is also kind of like a seating area down there, and also the photo booth that I mentioned before. And right now I'm just sticking some flowers near the DJ booth over there, and I'm just kind of finalizing the decorations in this area here, like putting up some wall hangings. And oh yeah, I also put these place settings in from, what was it, Parenthood? I was hoping, like, the thing that annoyed me with it was that no matter which placeholder or place setting you pick, it always defaults to the same color. Like, I was gonna pick the one with sunflowers on it because, because blue, like light blue and yellow were pretty much the colors of our wedding. Like, we had a lot of light blues, like the bridesmaids' dresses were light blue, and then I got these hair pieces for them that had sunflowers in them, and then I had this headpiece for myself that had sunflowers on it. So I really liked that when I saw that one of them looked like it had a little sunflower on it. It's like, oh, perfect. But then I put it down, and then it just defaulted to whatever this is. But I meant to fix it, but I didn't end up fixing it, so I just uploaded it to the gallery with it like this. But I mean, it's fine. It doesn't look too bad. It's definitely not the ideal, like not what I would have ideally chosen, but I mean, it's fine. It works. But here I'm just putting some paintings up throughout just to further decorate things a little bit. And I was thinking about sticking that near there, but it didn't really look good. So I just stuck this sign there once again. And I did place that, like you probably saw where I placed that throughout the build in a few spots, because it kind of looked like, because, at venues, they tend to have signs like this wedding here, or go here for this wedding, to kind of direct guests. So that sign definitely, like, it looked like it could have been that kind of a thing to me, with like the rows and text on either side. Maybe it's, if you stretch your imagination, it looked like that's what that could have been. So I thought that worked really well for that. But that does remind me that while our wedding day in general went very well, there was one thing about the venue that did kind of annoy me. So they kind of, like, I feel like they kind of overbooked things a little bit, because when we originally booked our wedding like a year and a half ago, they said, oh, we've got nothing else going on that day, you're good. But for whatever reason, they had like a music festival or something going on that day. Like, they had a band playing in the brewery that was on site. They also had music outside, so there's all these other people around it. It confused our wedding guests. And it also made it so when we did the first look pictures before the ceremony, there was all these other people outside, which was super awkward, because like I walked out in my big old wedding dress, and there's just these people in a field staring at me because I stick out like a sore thumb. And I mean, people were saying congratulations and stuff, which was nice, but it was awkward. And when we're doing the first look pictures, I saw someone, I kid you not, I saw someone take out their phone, and they were just taking a picture of me, which was like weird. I don't know. It was just very awkward, because I'm like, why are you taking a picture of some random bride at a wedding? I mean, I guess I should be flattered, but I just found that very weird and off-putting when I looked over and saw someone just taking a picture of me. So that did annoy me about the venue, but I mean, I can't complain too much, because other than that, it was a good day. And once the ceremony started, whatever was going on ended. So the venue cleared out other than just the people who were there for the wedding. So it was fine at that point, but they actually delayed our ceremony by like 15 minutes because our guests got confused and couldn't figure out where to go because there's so many other people around. So they were just like, oh, there's these other people. I guess they're here for the wedding. And then they would realize they weren't there for the wedding. It would be very confused as to where to go. So that I wasn't very happy about, but whatever. As I said, I don't want to complain too much, but right now I'm working on kind of the lounge area that I was mentioning before, because I wasn't really sure what to do with the space in here, so I thought this worked, you know, like being an area for guests to kind of sit down and get away from the noise upstairs and just chat if they wanted to, or wait for the bathrooms. And you probably also saw there where I just stuck all that stuff on the table, so that is the prop table I was mentioning. And it was very difficult to find stuff that looked like props. So I was trying to find stuff that loosely looked like props. Like, I found those puppets and I was like, oh, this is kind of a jackpot. You know, like you use some puppets as props in the photo booth. And I think I used like a stethoscope and an air horn and a rose, which I thought kind of worked. And just some other random stuff I found in the debug menu that remotely seemed prop-like. But right now I'm working on the bathrooms, and there's not really a whole lot to these. I just kind of did the same thing between the two bathrooms, made them look very symmetrical. You got two stalls, got lots of space, hopefully, so you don't have any traffic jams on your way to the bathroom. And then we just got some paintings here to finish it up. Oh, and I also used this wallpaper from Island Living, which worked very well for this build, to my surprise. I tried a few other panelings, but I didn't like how any of them looked quite as much as this one. Although I did change the flooring out in the lounge area to just a wood one because I wasn't really feeling the tile in there. So you will see that in the fly-through that's going to be at the end of the video. But right now I'm working on the kitchen. I just kind of, like, maybe I should use a different wallpaper, but I just liked how the paneling looked in here. And I wanted this to be kind of like, I don't know, it's not really like it's a commercial kitchen, but it's not really a super commercial kitchen because I wasn't seeing this as being a super commercial wedding venue, although I don't know, I don't know, maybe just kind of a place that's a little bit more low key, like they don't do a ton of weddings, or they're just kind of like getting into this. I don't know, I don't know if that makes any sense. So that's kind of the vibe I was going for, where it's not really like a whole perfectly streamlined operation yet, so they just kind of got more of a casual kitchen here for now to use if it needs to be used. And I also found this, like, I also put some stuff on the table in the center of there to make it look like they're preparing cake. Like, I put a spatula, I put a mixing bowl, I put that tray that the Sims pull out when they're starting to make a cake in there, and I believe that will be there when you download this. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think the mixology glasses that I put outside as favors might actually disappear, so this may not be there, but hopefully everything else should be. But we are almost at the end of the building part of the video, so as usual, if you want to download this, there will be a link to do so in the description. There'll be other stuff in there, how to find it in-game, and that's going to be all from me, so hope you enjoy the rest of the video.